Hello, welcome to this podcast. My name is Beatrice Marse. I am a singer-songwriter from France. So, the I have to say, yesterday I was watching a podcast from a channel called Dole's Jamming. It's a young lady who's actually doing modular synthesis. I do enjoy videos from time to time, and she was talking about mental health. And this today, I was watching another channel called Blah Blah Music. It's in French, and that person, it's I think a beat maker or producer, and he was talking about mental health, following the fact that he actually watched the same video that I did yesterday. And what I'm gonna say, I know that I have alluded to it on previous podcast. I know that already, but this is something like I would like to talk to you about from the point of view of when I'm calling myself an independent artist. Some people may think that I'm just a plain hobbyist. It's just a hobby, and that's about it. And nothing really applies to me. And maybe that I'm not a professional. I'm not even semi-pro, and the level of the quality of my stuff is not even worth anything. Basically, if you do think about it, so it's okay with me. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, to me, making music has become a lifestyle. I call myself an artist anyway, and I just realized like a few weeks back that it has just become a lifestyle. And this is the reason why I'm recording that video today, because I want to talk about it on this point of view. Because that French person was saying that well, if you're a hobbyist, it's something else. But if you like doing it as a professional, if you work as a professional artist, a professional beatmaker, the amount of work that you have to actually create, it's somewhere down the line is might burn you out if you don't if you're not careful. And anyway, in the industry, many people have not to care about it, but many people have some mental health issues because of the nature of the work they are doing. So, and I actually believe that this is applying to anyone who actually like has an activity, even as a musician. Like I say, to me it's a lifestyle. It's to me it's more than a hobby to this point. But then there's one thing I know, and I know I've talked about it on previous podcasts, not such a long time ago. To me, I actually drove a line. I know, like I said before, I know when it's time for me to actually sit down and record, and I know when it's time for me to actually put my foot on the brake and say I'm not going to do anything because I'm not in a mood for that. And what I want to say is that you need to and this is also coming this what I'm going to say has been reinforced by the fact that I was talking about that sorry, I've just finished reading a book called The Divine Matrix by Greg Braden. I think yes, Greg Braden. And yeah, you need that was the sense of a book. Somehow you need to work on yourself. You need to know yourself. And what I'm saying is that because if you want to stay in the flow, that's the reason why I think that the last time I talked to it was about being in the flow. If you want to stay in the flow, you need to work on yourself. It's true that you will have to isolate yourself. That's one thing for sure. You may, and to me it's not a big problem because I'm very much an introvert. That's what I've discovered like in my late 40s. That's what I can say. So it doesn't matter to me because this is the way I actually work. This is the way I feel comfortable with. And then I've learned that through the years that whatever I do, I need to distract myself from my main focus from time to time. So to me, it's easier. I have to say that the pandemic doesn't affect me that much. Like I said, because I'm always indoors anyway. I was laid off a few years ago because of my health issues, but I still kind of have to a certain extent. But it doesn't bother me. And through the years, I've learned to organize myself. First of all, I had to organize myself because the pain was so much that I had to deal with the pain every day and try to do something about being better in terms of health, and trying to get things done because I was on my own, trying to juggle, to do all things at the same time. So I've learned to somehow develop a discipline, a lifestyle, and to me, and funnily enough, it wasn't that difficult because, as I said before, I'm an introvert, so I'm used to be alone. I'm used to decide things on my own, and I'm used to have the way I am thinking not being approved by anyone else. So that's one thing. That's one thing that is settled, and I guess somehow it's helping me to do what I'm doing now. So as I say, I don't believe in the 24/7 techniques because I do believe that it's a sure highway to burnout and mental issues. And I think that from time to time, every day, you need to either create if you feel like creating, and you shouldn't force yourself to create if you don't want to create. And then you should allocate some space to get some distraction. To entertain yourself. Sorry, to distract yourself, to entertain yourself, so you can actually nurture your creative spirit and get more easily in the flow. And the thing is, to me, it doesn't matter if for a certain period of time I'm not doing anything. And I have to say that to you, that since the beginning of the pandemic, in terms of music, I'm not doing much apart from like recording videos all over the place, either for my friend channel or this channel. That's basically the only thing I'm actually doing. And last night, for very first time for the past few weeks, I've actually sit down and listened to my last album. I don't know, well, and few songs from my previous album. It was kind of interesting. Maybe I'm gonna do a podcast on the subject matter. But just to say that, to me, it doesn't make a big difference if you're making music as a pro or semi-pro hobbyist. At the end of the day, you need to do something in your life on a day-to-day basis that will allow you to actually sit down at some point where you can actually create. And it's true that your environment is very important. It's true that you need to work on it. It's true that you need very much a lot of long time. Uh, but I know on the other hand, some people like collaborating a lot. They can't actually do anything if there's not someone else in the same room as them. So it depends. Basically, you need to identify how you actually do your stuff and do it the way you feel like it's best for you to do it. I think that's the main thing. So during a day, I do not record that much, I have to say. And nowadays, it's down to whenever I record, it's an hour from time to time. Maybe on the same day, I'm gonna put 2 sessions of 1 hour, and it's very much, as I said before, it's much easier for me because basically when I actually sit down, I know that something deep inside, I know that something is about to happen. So it's very much easier for me. And I realize when I actually force it, it doesn't go. And then basically I've learned with the experience I have that when it doesn't flow, it doesn't flow. So you either do it because you want like play with things, knowing that nothing much will come out of it, or you try to do something in a very stubborn way. So it happened to me about a month ago where I did a series of project that I didn't finish, and every time I was like actually working on it, working on them, I thought, well, it doesn't sound right, it doesn't look right, so let's start another one. And the funny thing is that like 2 weeks ago, I went back to those projects and finished I think 2 tracks from those old projects that I had started and couldn't finish on the spot. So you have to know and you need to work on yourself. So working on yourself, it means to me, what it means to me is that you need to sleep, to have a good sleep, regular sleep. You need to be healthy, you need to eat well to nourish yourself so you can nourish your brain somehow. You need to do some exercise. So with the pandemic, I can't do much apart from walking around my area, so I can't actually cycle anymore. So I'm a bit, yeah, I'm not so happy about that. But I do yoga every day except on Sunday. So I have some, yeah, and it's the reason why, as an introvert, it's very difficult to actually say I'm bored, because I'm never bored. Even when I'm alone, I'm never bored. I know there are so many things I can do any times of the day, and the thing is, my health is preventing me to do those things, or I've got other issues, and because um, I'm I very much I have a lot of interest for many things, so my my day is split with different things that will allow me to shift my focus from time to time, and somehow I would say enlarge the vision that I have of the world and uh, to be very personal, my the vision that I have of my world. So it allows me to nurture my creativity that way. So and also I went into very. I think right now I'm kind of between quotes, living a very spartiate life somehow. I'm actually into cold showers as well, so it just like boosting the thing that also I'm vegan, so this fact is helping me to actually stay alert. That's so alert. That's what I can say. So to me, it's a whole thing, and to me, it doesn't. It's a fallacy to say because you are not a professional, you won't have some mental issues. If you're feeling like you need to create something and you got problem to create, especially if you're not in the right environment, I think it's the number one solution is to have to set a place where you can actually you have a time for yourself where you can actually create. It's the number one thing to me. And then I know for some of you it might be difficult to actually try to find such a place, but with time you will understand. And the thing is, you need to understand at what time. Actually, it's not even understand. It's identify at what time you are the most creative in your life. So some people it's early in the morning before the kids get up. Some other people it's late at night. Me it's a cross between afternoon and late at night. It depends. Nothing is written on the marble. That's what I can say, because sometimes, as I said before, it happened to me that one Sunday I just got up. I just get up and I've got the melody in my head and I know I need to work on it. So it's not very often, but sometimes it may happen. But this is the case when I'm actually at peace and at ease with myself. So uh, that's when it usually happens. But at the end of the day, uh, it's up to you to organize the way you work, and it comes to a point, and this is why to me this is why in the music industry people are going through burnouts, and if you've got mental health issues, is because the music industry it's money driven. So people is like, to me it's like a factory where you require from artists things that we creative people can't actually fall into. When really creative people, they are not machines. They have a drive. Yes, some of them might be extra productive, but I don't actually believe that the drive is actually the same as being there only for the money. If you kind of understand what I mean. So to me, there's a big difference in being creative and try to make money from your creative work of art. So it's, to me, it's a difference, and this is the reason why I think that basically people from we are up the ladder at in the music industry go through burnout, because the demand is such that any human beings cannot handle anyway. And I'm not surprised that people go into addiction, because at the end of the day, yeah. And even for someone who's working a regular job, it's actually the same thing. If your boss is asking you things all day long, every day you actually go to work, at one point you're going to burn out. So it's the same thing when you're doing some creative work. But the thing is, because to me the picture in the music industry, it's a bit blurred, intentionally or not intentionally. I will let you decide. I think new beginners, people who actually want to start a career, don't actually see it that way, and somehow they get fooled by what the music industry seems to be, opposed to what a creative person is. And to me, a true creative person has nothing to, doesn't even look like someone who will work, who would work for the music industry. That's to me, it's two different type of profile. So I admire a lot people who actually do the creative work, and they do it their own way, and they don't care about the financial consequences of doing it their own way. And having said that, so I haven't got much money to my name, so it might be easier to say that. But as I said before on my last podcast, I'm dead sure, and I guess it's because of my age of experience of life. I'm not in a position, and this is not something I want to do, is to sell my soul. I know what my limitations are, I know what my ambitions are, and I try to align myself with those things. And I'm not saying I cannot do it. I'm not saying I want to do it. I'm just doing it, and whatever will happen next. And yes, sometimes I'm a bit bothered. Yes, sometimes I'm a little bit momentarily depressed, but it goes away, because I've learned to work in such a way that I can take myself out of my blue somewhere and do something else for a while, and then come back to the music when it is necessary and required to actually make anything. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about. And as I say, if you're just starting the processes of making music, I don't know if you're a big maker, a musician, or whatever, composer, whatever, if you're young and you just started, my only message to you is that you really need to work on yourself to be successful, and to actually be mentally healthy. And being mentally healthy, it means working on your health, of course, eating right, sleeping right, okay, exercise a lot of time, and actually entertain yourself to nurture your flow. So that's it for me for today. Thank you for listening to me. It's one of those podcasts, and somehow I don't know if those podcasts are for the fans or fellow creators like me. I don't know anymore. So anyway, thank you for listening to me. You hear or see me next time. You will see me if you go to my YouTube channel called Beatrice Marse, and you will be able to see the video of this podcast. Till then, thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.